Well, the truth is that I had gone to Vince from the first day I joined the company, within the first few weeks of being in the company, to Vince and tell him about that he should think about trying to do these ladder matches. Then I told him the concept, and they never had any interest. And I'd come about a year later, I'd say, you know, there's something they should really think about is these ladder matches. They'd be really great. And I explained the whole thing, the concept to them again, and they'd always... And then I got where it's like, you know, I would go to Vince and I'd say, I got this idea, but I don't. You got to promise me you won't do it with anyone else but me. And he said, what is it? And it's this ladder match. And I tell him the whole idea again. And that'd been going on for, I don't know, what's that, 8 years or so.
Yeah.
And the way it all happened was that Duggan and Perfect were doing the commentary in those days, and they both pulled me aside and said, we have got the news today that SummerSlam's going to be it's going to either be in Wembley Stadium or it's going to be in Washington, D.C. at the Cap Center. And so when I won the belt from Piper, I had been told that it was in all likelihood that I would probably drop the belt at SummerSlam to somebody. It wasn't said for sure who or... And so I thought, okay, so I'm dropping the belt at SummerSlam. Good chance. If it's in Wembley Stadium in England, it's got to be Davey. I could drop it to Davey. It would work. That would be that would make sense and it would work. It would, you know, that would be... Davey was over pretty strong in England, so it would be a natural matchup. But then I thought, well, but if it's in Washington, D.C., the Davies card isn't necessary to play so much now because of the England thing. But it was like, I thought... And they had told me they thought I'd be working with Sean at SummerSlam. And it was like, if I got to drop the belt to somebody, why don't I try to get them to do the ladder match again? And I'll do the ladder match. And I went to Vince, and I said, if I said, I walked in Maine or wherever it was that we filmed that. I said, I heard two things. That it's either going to be Wembley or Washington, D.C. And I told him both ideas. I said, but if it's in Washington, D.C., let me do a ladder match with Sean. And I guess he was maybe having to make this decision right in the next day or two, so I was right on that. He goes, show it to me. Show me the match. And I go, with who? He goes, just pick anybody. Pick Sean. I said, well, I'll pick Sean. So I pick Sean. I go find Sean, and I say, Sean, I got this idea. And I tell him the whole idea, and we're going to do a ladder match. I said, I just got to show Vince the concept. And Sean was very confused as to what it was. So what do I do?
Right.
And this is what you got to do, and you got to keep trying to climb the ladder. And I keep telling him what happened. So we go out and do this, just a demonstration match. It's all it is. It's just.
Is this the match that's on Wrestling Challenge?
This is the match, the only match that we ever did in a ladder, and they kept it and they air it today. It was just a throw. I wrestled 3 times that day. It was like I just wanted to demonstrate with it. There was no real. We weren't trying to make it the ladder match at WrestleMania 10. You know, we were just trying to make it a ladder match. And it's always bothered me that they stole the idea. Sean knew then, here's my idea. So and they stole my idea. They didn't ask me if they could use the idea. They stole my idea, and it was already in print before I ever knew that. But, you know, it bothered me because, you know, the truth is I would love to have wrestled my brother Owen in a ladder match at SummerSlam instead of the cage. The cage was... you know, I would love to have done a cage with somebody, but it didn't have to be Owen. It could have been. I could have had a great ladder match. It just always bothered me. And Vince always promised me that he'd never do it with anyone else, but they stole that idea from me. And you know, it was the idea that was great. I mean, I always hear about Razor and Sean having this great match at WrestleMania. I go, well, it's great, but they ripped off the idea from me, and you know, it's the idea that's great, not the match. Well, Scott was a good pal of Kurt's. Perfect. He was. They've been down the road together in different places. I think in AWA and Razor had kind of bounced around. I don't think I never got the impression when Razor started that he was like a real pro yet. Like he was still pretty green. And mind you, he you know, he did really well when he first came in. I wasn't sure what kind of guy he was when I first met him. But he was, you know, like I say, he was one of the Minneapolis guys. I'm not sure if he's living in Minneapolis or whatnot, but he was always a good guy. You know, he's always in those days he was really you know, pretty focused and fun to be around. I think the business can be fun when you first get into it, and he just got into it. And he got a kind of a lucky break, and they were giving him a pretty good push. And you know, I think the gimmick, as I remember, they were trying to come up with a name for him, and he had gone into Vince's office and to try to sell himself on getting a job, and he did an imitation of, I think Kurt was in there with him. Kurt took him in, and he did an imitation of Al Pacino or whatever, doing the Scarface. And Vince loved it, and he got a job out of it. And I remember even that night after he was hired, and they were going to do the gimmick with him, going to give him a big push, and it was like it all happened pretty quick for him. But I do remember Kurt going, "We got to come up with a name," and it's like I think it was Kurt that came up with the name, Razor Ramon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was Scott, but I know it was all happened in a couple of minutes in the dressing room, where it's like, okay, this is his name, and this is his gimmick, and you know, the little bit with the hair all came in the few weeks that it took to they were starting to prepare him for that. But Scott did a lot of that on his own. You know, he created that gimmick, and it wasn't easy to do. I don't think you know, to play the same reason I didn't want to play a cowboy Bret Hart. They wanted me to be Vince back in the 80s. They'd given me my first break was going to be as Cowboy Bret Hart. And I remember thinking about it, and at first I was all gung-ho about it, like, we're finally going to do something with me. And then by the end of the night, I realized, like, I don't want to be a cowboy. It's awful hard. You know, I'm not a real cowboy. I'm going to be on TV everywhere, and people are going to go, "Can you ride a horse?" It's like, I'm kind of scared of horses, you know. It's like, what kind of cowboy would I really be? Like, and I finally just, I knew I didn't think I could carry it off in the long of it. Like, I wasn't a rodeo guy, or I wasn't a real cowboy. And I knocked on the George Scott's door and told him, I said, I can't do it. And it's the same thing with Scott Hall.
He's not a Cuban drug dealer.
He's not a Cuban drug dealer, but he took it and made it work. And, you know, that's how I remember him. I always remember him as Razor Ramon. The WCW days are all lost to me as far as being worth remembering.